Welcome in Greg Ruff and Emily Moore, the volleyball coach here at Trevecca. And this is your 4th year?
Yeah.
Is it? Wow,
Yeah.
I got it right. I've gotten everybody else wrong so far. So, and this is like, I don't know, it's like one of those interviews that I feel like I got to talk about everything, but I don't have time to. But you were so involved with the COVID protocol on this campus and within the athletic department. You were a senior woman administrator and in that role, but also you took a role with the university to help with that in communications and all that kind of stuff. Just, are you glad that maybe you don't have to do that right now?
Yeah. Of course, I wish that we weren't dealing with COVID at all anymore, and that's unfortunately not the case. But, last year was like just survive day by day, and I was doing what I could to help the university, weather the storm, as well as our athletic department and my own team. And this year, I'm hoping that I can really focus on getting back to coaching the volleyball team in a regular season in the fall. And I think we have better systems in place as a university now to hopefully manage the residual effects that we will likely see with COVID on our campus this year. Hopefully it's minimal, but I think we're ready to go, and hopefully I won't need to be such a piece of that puzzle.
Yeah. I'll stick with that. As a coach, as someone who played, I think I see in a lot of people, and in particular I've seen it in you, for sure, but being able to compartmentalize things. So you can put this hat on, put this hat on, put that hat on, and you're really good at being able to be in the moment of that. Where do you get that from?
Honestly, I think a lot of the skills that I've carried over into coaching and athletic administration have come from the several years that I spent in the classroom. As a high school English teacher, and I was in all different types of school settings, urban school settings, small private school settings, college prep, high school settings, which required me to kind of shift the way I delivered content and how I interacted with different students, completely different personnel on staff. And, I really feel like to get goals accomplished just with my team, with our whole athletic department, we have to be able to work with other people. We can't operate in a silo. And I know that to be true when I was teaching. I think that's true here, that I'm better when I'm working with a team. I love team sports for that same reason. So I think that, just having been a part of so many different teams and different settings along the way has really helped me be here and realize, hey, I'm on the leadership team, I'm working with the volleyball team, I'm on the COVID care team, and those are different personalities, but I like getting to wear those different hats and interacting with different people on campus. So
you've sort of answered it a little bit, but what did you learn? What have you learned from COVID?
Oh gosh.
Positive things you've learned.
Positive things. I think I love what I do. Like I think I'm in a fortunate place. I'm one of those few people, I think, in our society who can say that work is play and play is work, and every day I look forward to coming to work. It doesn't feel like a job. But with that, I know I have a tendency to lose myself in the job, even though it's fun, and I can spend 12 to 15 hours a day just solely zoned in to volleyball or what's going on in our athletic department. And I think COVID really forced me to step back and look at the other parts of my life that I should probably pour into a little bit more. Relationships with friends and family, relationship with God, just so many different areas of my life that were probably neglected for several years because I was so focused on volleyball that this was a forced, hey, stop and take some other things in. And hopefully that's something that coming in to the rest of this year, I remember. And I remember it for my athletes as well, that, hey, volleyball is important, but so is school, and so are the social relationships you're going to make, and so are the relationships that you're building, the spiritual relationships that you're building. And I want to make sure I give them time to pour into those parts of their lives, because I know in the last year, while it was challenging, and I really don't want to repeat it ever again, there's definitely some personal growth that came from it for me.
I think it's probably everybody.
I hope so.
We don't have a lot of time to spend on it because we talked about other things, and those were good things to talk about. But talk a little bit about your team, because people want to know about your team as well. Because this is a new team, and you guys had to play in the spring, and this is the full. But what this team, the roster, talk about them.
Well, first of all, we just finished our second day of. Well, we're about halfway through our second day of preseason training, which is really grueling. And I can say that as a whole, with 19 players, like player for player, we are more in shape and fit than we've ever been. But I think that's because we really didn't have that much time off from a competitive season coming into this one. But we have 19 players on the roster, which is huge. And there's so much I could go into about how we got to that number. But one of the things that I'm most proud of is, everybody's heard of the transfer portal, and everyone knows that there's a waiver out there. And it's really easy for athletes to jump ship and go somewhere else when they don't like their school, or they're not getting playing time, or they have a riff with a teammate or a coach. I haven't had that. I have kids that want to come back and play every year because they love each other. They love this university. They love the culture and the program that we've built together. And probably more than the wins on our record, I'm most proud of that we've got kids who are bought in to what we're doing. So yes, 19 is a big number, and I'm really excited about the girls that we have on the team. It's that way because we're choosing to stick it out together, and we do have 8 seniors, so we will not have 19 on the roster next year. But I'm really pumped for our 8 seniors to hopefully have a really solid, full, complete season this fall.
Emily Moore, women's volleyball coach here at Trevecca. I said women. I'd never say that. But would that mean we might have men's coming sometime? I don't know. Maybe that's why it was in my head. Women's volleyball coach, Emily Moore.